But look, let's move on now to the biggest media story in the US. Two broadcast stars were punted on the same day. Now, Don Lemon was axed from CNN, but the most prominent was Tucker Carlson, who was sacked by Fox News in the fallout of the $1.2 billion settlement, which has rocked the network. So how is Carlson taking the news?
When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
Fiery stuff indeed. The news made headlines around the world, but my favourite take was this exclusive by the Daily Mail, where the intrepid reporter bumped into Carlson as he rode a buggy to a restaurant with his wife. Exclusive. Appetisers plus entree. Looks like Tucker Carlson doesn't give two fucks about his ousting from network, gleefully telling dailymail.com his future plans while tooling off to a romantic date night with wife Susan. Well, Lemon, true to his name, was taking the news not quite so well. He tweeted out a scathing note to management complaining no one gave him a heads up before he was punted. I am stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. Poor thing. Now, CNN disputes that version of events, but it is good to see Lemon act with class right through until the end. Caroline, very keen to get your thoughts. I think first with Tucker Carlson. What did you make of the news? Do you think it was a much needed refreshment at Fox, and do you think he's going to be okay?
Oh, look, I think he's going to be fine. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on to some sort of digital platform. I think he will do very well. He has a huge personal following. But to be honest, what I've found most interesting about both of these sackings is the celebrity that surrounds these two commentators. And it's something quite different to what we have in Australia. And thank you to the Daily Mail for, as usual, bringing us the big, hard-hitting takes on these issues. But it has been quite extraordinary, in my opinion, just to kind of watch the fallout and the reaction from all sorts of levels of politics, of media, of celebrity. Everyone has had an opinion about this, and you wouldn't ordinarily think, and probably wouldn't be the case so much here in Australia, that two commentators would necessarily have, I suppose, that much celebrity status and that much to opine about, to be honest.
Yeah, well said. Now, Daisy, I want to get your reaction to the interview that people suspect was the reason that Don Lemon was actually sacked.
One of the lessons that we
still
learned.
aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. And I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
When you are in black skin and you live in this country, then you can disagree with me, but we're not. You mentioned that there are three different shades of melanin.
Don, I think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin.
Well, Daisy, it's a presidential candidate, and Don Lemon turns to him and says, well, if you're not my colour living in America, then you don't get to disagree with me. And it really shows, I think people have picked this clip, because it really showed that partisan reporting period in the lead up to a US election, cable news networks may be trying to steer away from that.
Yeah, it's a very good point, isn't it? I think perhaps these news networks have realised that people, I think, are getting really sick of racial identity politics. I mean, you know, it's been hammered through the public zeitgeist really since 2020 with the so-called Summer of Love, with the Black Lives Matter riots. Perhaps they were trying to portray themselves as more serious. I mean, it's such a stupid thing to say, oh, because you're not my skin colour, you can't disagree with me. I mean, that is so just undergraduate, if you know what I mean. I think I heard another interview that might have caused problems was when he said, you know, Republican presidential hopeful Nikki Haley was not in her prime. I mean, she's only 51, but he was saying women are in their prime in their 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s, but not then. I mean, that is
what an awful
outrageously sexist, in my opinion. So
that
perhaps,
definitely caused him problems.
A number of factors there, I think. But either way, poor Don. Poor little Don. He's very upset.
Daisy Cousins, Caroline DeRusso, thank you so much for joining me.